Our intro to me today is Aiemann Zahabi, who fights Pedro Munhoz at UFC Edmonton. That fight is on November 2nd. So, on the last few times we've talked a little bit about you being more active, you wanting to get more fights. There was a management change that hopefully was helping to facilitate that. I know this is your second fight in 8 months. So, is this a little bit closer to what you're looking for? Would you
It's
like
better.
more?
It's great. It's great. It's within a year, guys. It's within a year. So it's a win. I take it as a win. That's definitely a W. And I like the opponent too. It's a good name. It's a really big name. So I feel like now it's like, okay, I've earned my spot in UFC. I'm getting recognized for my skills. A lot of people doubted me for the Javits fight, and I proved a lot of guys wrong. And now giving me somebody with an even bigger name, which is great. And I'm hoping to beat him too. And then hopefully put me in the top 15 after this one.
Yeah, well, I was going to ask you about that. You beat Javid Baccarat, who some people were already ranking. Some people were already saying he's damn near a top 10 guy. So
Yeah.
when you won that fight, did you feel like Munhoz was the next logical step? Did you expect something a little bigger?
Well, Munhoz was ranked,
Mhm.
right? So that would have been nice. Like, but I didn't have a name in mind in the top 15 that I wanted to fight. And then they gave me Munhoz, and I feel like he didn't even lose the fight. They just kicked him out of the top 15. So it was interesting that they just threw him. Like as soon as it was funny because as soon as they offered me the fight, I say yes, and then he's out of the top 15. It's like, whoa, wait, what happened here?
Yeah.
But that is what it is. But he's still a great name, regardless. I don't care about that number next to his name. I feel like people are gonna see how legit I am. Even after the Javed fight, everyone says, like now I've basically made myself in the UFC, which is good. And I think beating Pedro is really gonna solidify me because he's only lost to the guys that are in the top 10, top 15.
Yeah, and he's been a guy who's been in main events too, and all that kind of stuff. So I assume when they came to you with that name, obviously no hesitation. You're getting your second fight in 8 months. That's something we've got to
Yeah, it's amazing.
we've got to be amazed about. But was that a name that was immediately interesting to you?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah, for sure. I like the name. I wanted somebody up there ahead of me. Like I'm trying to climb the rankings. I'm trying to make my
Mm,
way up. So I was really happy with that name for sure.
awesome. So let's
He's a dangerous guy.
yeah.
Like some people are telling me, it's so funny. It's crazy. Like so many people are telling me that they think this is an easier fight than sorry, this is a less dangerous guy than the Javit fight. And I'm like, well, what are you guys talking about? This guy's way more dangerous. Like in the sense that he's way more proven and he's only lost to the best of the best. I'm not saying Javit is not good. I don't mean that at all. Obviously, I respect Javit a lot. He gave me a hard fight. I just think, like he's never been finished. He's been in there with Aldo. He's been in there with Frankie Edgar. He's been in there with Kyler Phillips, Chito Vera. He's been with all these tough guys. I feel like he's the more dangerous guy. He's got more subs. He's got good KO power. I feel like people are doubting him more than they should. But I think he's a tough fight, and I'm excited to do it.
Well, I was going to ask you about that stylistic matchup. So you just mentioned a whole bunch of things that are dangerous about him, right? The big KO power, the fact that it seems like nobody can knock him out. So,
Yeah.
when you started breaking down stylistically how you match up with him, what do you like about the matchups for you?
Well, I like the striking for sure. I feel like I'm honing in on my striking skills. Like he has a lot of failed takedowns. So I feel like I might have the edge in wrestling, and in jiu-jitsu he's got really good subs. Like he's got a lot of guillotines. But I feel like a lot of the times it's because he hurts guys and he catches them, or on their way up he catches their neck. So we brought in Ryan Hall to prepare for the guillotines, and obviously like I don't want to get dropped, right? So we're gonna work on that on the understanding so he doesn't get a guillotine in that way. And I'm excited to see what happens if I get on top of him. I worked a lot of my top game too to hold guys down. So I'm excited to see what happens if I can get on top.
So talk to me a little bit about the sub game then, because you mentioned the name Ryan Hall. My eyes immediately get stars in him because
Yeah.
I love his jiu-jitsu game. It's always fun to watch. So are we going to see a little bit more offensive jiu-jitsu from you in this one too, maybe? Or is it mostly just been brought in as sort of the foil to Pedro?
Well, also, yeah, so like I brought him obviously to not get guillotined. That's like the main reason we brought him in. But also, he was showing me different ways to hold someone down and being able to strike, right? Because, like in my opinion, it's hard to sub a guy until he's damaged or extremely tired. Like a guy like Pedro, who's such a high caliber fighter, who's been a black belt for quite a while now too, and he's a proven jiu-jitsu like expert. You can't knock him off. Sorry, excuse me. You can't sub him for free. You gotta hurt him or you gotta gas him. And those are two extremely hard things to do. So one thing we worked on was how to maintain the top position and also free up my arms to land strikes while I have him down. So that's one of the things I'm hoping to showcase in the fight.
That's awesome to hear. And obviously Ryan Hall brought in for the jiu-jitsu, great for positioning and all that kind of stuff. He's been working with you guys obviously for a really
Yeah.
long time. What was there a wrestling side of it as well? Did you have to bring in somebody to work
Yeah.
on that kind of stuff as well?
Well, I also have guys who are his height. I have Xavier Louis, who's been
Mm.
given the task of taking me down and holding me down. And he's like a really tough wrestler. He's also a judo brown belt. And I also think Pedro is like a judo brown belt or black belt as well. So X was like perfect for that. And then also the Laramie brothers came in, TJ and Tony Laramie, who are also known for the wrestling. I think TJ was in the UFC for a couple of fights. And Tony just signed in with Ryzen, so I had them in. I also had brought in Jonathan DeBella again. He's like a ex-world champion kickboxer, and he's got the craziest striking. I'm telling you, even though he's lighter than me, this guy can strike a lot of intensity. And also I used to train with other guys in the gym too, who help mimic his style. There's also a guy named Rabih, is a two-time amateur national champion in Algeria. So I had him with me, and he's like shorter, and he was able to mimic Munhoz for me as well. So yeah, we're lucky at TriStar. We have a lot of bodies, a lot of different
Yeah.
guys, and we're friendly, and people come in. And one of the things that was really cool too is Rob Font joined the team. So for the last few
Interesting.
months, I've been training with the #9 bantamweight in the UFC, which is great. And he's really good friends with Calvin Cater. So Calvin Cater was with us too for a while. He would come and go. Obviously, he got like a little bit of an injury. He had to pull out of his fight there, but he was coming also. So I got to spar Calvin Cater too, and it was nice to have like so many names come through the gym.
That's awesome. Now, the Rob Font one, talk to me about this because he's,
Yeah,
supposed to be fighting in the co-main event, right? Coming up this
Tyler
upcoming
Phillips.
weekend, right? And so tell me, is that a permanent move? Did he come to do his fight camp up there all the time? Is he living in Canada? Like what, give me a little bit of the background on that.
So yeah, he came. He joined us right after my job, his fight,
Mhm.
and he was coming and going, and then he did his basically almost the entirety of his camp here. And in my opinion, everything went well. I think he liked it. I think he liked the schedule, the program for us. I think he loved for us. I think he liked having we have a lot of bantamweights in the room, so I think he liked the variety of bodies. And I also think he likes the revolving door of guys walking in. It was insane because like it was so funny that every week that we'd have a visitor who can like mimic Kyler Phillips. So like there wasn't a week where he didn't have someone who can mimic that style. So like he was like, man, this is great, and like obviously I would spar him too, and I would mimic Kyler for him too. And yeah, I think they liked it. I'm hoping the fight goes well and he wants to come back and everything goes smoothly. You never know. You never know how things go, but the preparation I think was really well done, and I think he's ready. I think he's ready to bring the W.
Is it interesting for you now having a guy in the gym who is a ranked bantamweight though, as you're sort of like looking up at the names of guys you want to get your
Yeah.
hands on? Like Rob might have been one of those guys in a different time and place, right? Like that could have been your name in the
Yeah, it
co-main
could be me and
event.
him, man. It could have been me and him.
It could have been. So is it
Yeah.
weird like having him in the gym knowing that?
Well, no, like at first you don't know what to expect, right? When they come, like look, I've been lucky that I've been in TriStar for so long that I've had a lot of UFC guys come from a lot of different places, and you get to know them really quick if they're just there to use you or if they're actually going to become a teammate. And Rob is actually a really stand-up guy, and I trust him. And I think we've trained so much together that we don't need to fight each other now, and that I've helped him in a lot of ways, and he's helped me in a lot of ways, and I don't think there's ever going to be like a friction like that between us, and I'm hoping that our relationship grows even further, and we can, like now there's a new era for us. Like now we're at a new chapter with us together. We're like a new duo.
I like
That's what I'm
that.
hoping
I,
for.
I like that a lot. I like that a lot. Now, usually I ask for a prediction on your fight, and I'm gonna get to that at some point. But give me a
Yeah.
prediction on his fight with Kyler Phillips. How do you see that one ending?
Yeah, that's like a really interesting fight, and I think Kyler has gotten tired in the past with guys that he couldn't put away and guys that he couldn't really hurt. And I know they both have a 72-inch reach, but we worked on a few things for Rob to be able to use it better. And with Faraz's strategy and like his idea for tactics and what to do to subdue some of your opponent's best plans. I'm hoping that Rob can implement the strategies and the tactics that we put into play, and he comes out with a W, man. I'm assuming they're gonna go the distance because they're both gonna come in 6'6" shape. But I'm looking for Kyler to win the decision. Excuse me, I'm looking for Rob Font to win the decision on this one.
I like that. And is Frost going down to travel to be in his corner too, or are you
Yep,
traveling?
Frost is gonna be cornering him, man. It's gonna
Oh,
be sick.
nice.
Frost is actually cornering another fighter, Alex Martinez. I'm sure you've heard him. He's fought in PFL before. He's fighting on the Friday, so Frost is gonna go corner him and then fly Friday night or Saturday early morning to meet Rob Font at his event, and he's flying back, coming back to help train for the last week with me.
That is a hell of a schedule right there.
Yeah, he's crazy, my brother. He's crazy. But listen, I really believe in Rob Font. I really feel like he already brought so much to the table. Like he's been in the top 15 for a while, and he just needed a few tweaks. He just need to polish up a few things, and I think with Faraz and him teaming up, we're gonna see a really good dangerous Rob Font.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it. Now, I'm going to get to your fight in just a second, but obviously I got to check in on the comings and goings of your outside the cage life too, because, we were talked last time about you starting up your YouTube channel. I see it's flourishing. We're doing the fight night watch alongs.
Yeah.
I also saw you on the red carpet of the World MMA Awards.
Yeah.
And not as the fighter walking and getting interviewed, as the guy interviewing. How did you wind up on that side of the red carpet that night?
Yeah, baby. Yeah, it's a funny story, but like I actually the journalist Aaron Bronstetter.
Yeah.
So I saw on Twitter that Mike Mallet was gonna do a thing with Sportsnet, that he was gonna go to a UFC event and like do interviews and stuff like that. So I just replied to them. I'm like, hey guys, consider me for the next one. You know what I mean? And then Mike Mallet actually said, yeah, that would be amazing. And then Aaron saw it and whatever. So Aaron, I think, spoke to the heads of the Sportsnet and put my name in as like, hey, if Mike can't make it for the next one, maybe we should give Aiemann like a trial. So they gave me a trial run for like UFC 303. And I think I knocked it out of the park, man. I think I did really, really well. That's what the feedback was from like the producers, and the vice president of Sportsnet was there. It was really cool because it was the NHL draft in Vegas too at the same weekend. So the Sportsnet brass was there, so they got to see me do the show. They got to see what I can do, and they loved me, so that was nice. And they even threw me like a 2-hour live weigh-in special that the UFC and Sportsnet have never done before.
Wow!
So I had to be live on TV for 2 hours, which was really cool. So yeah, it went really well, and I'm hoping that they gave me good feedback, and they told me that anytime I want, I can come back. I said, okay, when I retire, I'll do this full time, but for now, I'll just come when I can. They're like, yeah, anytime you want, you can jump in.
I dig it. Now, obviously, retirement, long ways away. So let's get to what everybody's here for. And that's the prediction. So Aiemann Zahabi, Pedro Munhoz, UFC Edmonton. Give me the prediction. How's it end?
Yeah, like I said, he's never been finished. And, I'm not an arrogant guy. So I think we're going to win by unanimous decision. But honestly, my heart of hearts, man, I'm hoping to be the guy that puts him away.
All right. Well, you heard it here first, folks. This is then Aiemann Zahabi, who fights Pedro Munhoz at UFC Edmonton. Once again, that fight, November 2nd. Aiemann, thank you so much for the time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.